because I don't have that really, so it's kind of bad. You might have heard a beep boop. Do like the local record my stuff. Okay, so New Game Plus. So we're gonna start off on an empty New Game Plus file, and I guess I'll count off or something like that.
Yeah, you can just type that.
Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, go. So, yeah. Okami. We're playing a wolf. That's the first thing you need to know. Also, okay, so we start off with a New Game Plus file. This means that we can skip all the cutscenes. So we've just skipped almost 14 minutes worth of cutscenes, which is really nice. First things first, in Okami you have two different modes of speed. You have normal speed, like this, and after walking for a while you get full speed. Throughout the game you'll see me jumping in and out of certain loading zones and cutscenes. This is to try and maintain my speed by doing what we call speed restoration. So for some reason, when you jump into a cutscene, it stores your speed, and when you jump out of it without touching your analog stick, it'll restore it, which is nice. So one of the main things about this game is the brush, and that's this. In this case, we use it to draw a star. It's really useful, and it's a big part of the game, it's a big part of the story. You've lost all 13 of your brush powers. So we need to regain them, and we just regained rejuvenation, with which we can, like this, rejuvenate this river. So yeah, that is basically what we'll be doing a lot of the game. So in any percent, the only thing we'll really be doing is grabbing all the brush powers we can to finish the game, and then we'll just finish the game. So we won't be collecting all 13 brush powers. You also notice that I'll be walking a lot. This game has a lot of just straight line movement throughout the world, and it's a beautiful world to look at though, so it's all good. So this is the tutorial area. It's supposed to teach you how the game works, and well, we already know it, so we just skip through everything as much as we can. And then we're gonna go over here. I'm gonna rejuvenate this statue's sword, like that. And that way we gain one of the most useful abilities, which is Power Slash, which we'll be using to slash through a lot of things. Now the game has some fight triggers right here, and we're just gonna walk around it like this. So we just skip the fight. I'll be doing that a lot throughout the run. There are a couple of triggers that are quite easy to just walk around or jump over and stuff like that. So I'll be doing that a lot throughout the run. So here's another fight trigger, and we passed it. It's like, you have this giant area to just walk around it, and the game expects you to just walk right into it. So why we're trekking back right now is because we need to cut down a fruit that we were at the start of the game. So we have to backtrack through this section, sadly. I'll just jump down here. So I could explain a lot of the story, I guess, but what am I doing? That was bad movement. I was doing the movement without the proper timing for the movement. So there we cut down the fruit, you see it falling right there. So I could explain a lot about the story, but honestly the only moments where we will actually be in the proper storyline is at the start of the game and at the end of the game. And pretty soon we're gonna leave the story order and we're gonna start sequence breaking this game to shit. So yeah. So we'll jump down here. So there is a pretty amazing glitch in this game that completely breaks it open, and I'll be showing it right about now, and then I'll explain how it works. There we go. So you just saw me do an infinite jump, basically. This game, in the New Game Plus, gives you certain skins called Karmic Transformers. By switching Karmic Transformers while in mid-air, and then on the first frame of the unpause, if I press the dash button, for some reason I can dash in mid-air and jump off of it, basically giving me an infinite jump. It isn't that hard, honestly. Like, it's a one-frame trick, but we'll be doing it a lot throughout the run, and it's like all in the timing, really. So the world is cursed, and we should try and fix that. So we're gonna go to Hana Valley to gain some stuff so we can fix it. Another thing we get from New Game Plus is a bunch of weapons and items. So we'll be equipping them here because this is the first fight where we need them. So we got this cool beads. And I finish off with a slip. So, exorcism slips are the giant white ball you basically saw appear out of nowhere. We'll be using them a lot. We have like 50 at least, and they basically deal a really giant amount of damage to everything on screen, which makes for really nice and quick kills in battles. I also equipped something that is even more important, which is the string of beads, which basically gives me infinite health and infinite ink pots, so I can use my brush powers as much as I like. And it ups my attack power by 10, so every single fight is basically going to be a joke from this point on, which might be a little bit sad, but it's okay. Leaves more room for other things to optimize. So another thing, we skipped one of the brush powers, like quote-unquote getting one of the brush powers, which is Sunrise. But because we never actually gain it in the normal story, we can just use it like this. So the game, for some reason, even though you've never actually gotten the Sunrise power, whenever you need it to advance the story, you can just use it. And that's really nice. Skips like 1 or 2 minutes. Probably more, actually. So here we have a really small and tiny guardian sapling. It's really sad. Maybe we should try and make it bigger. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the run. It's Susanoo. He's gonna cut some torches, because we hate torches. So. No! Susanoo! The weirdest name of an attack ever. Explosion! Because that totally makes sense. And then we're gonna go straight into the worst part of the run, probably, or one of the worst parts, this ball. Now this ball is very precise in its collisions, so it's really annoying to control, but this went really well actually. That was a great ball, holy shit. Might have to cut down on the cursing a little bit. You don't see balls like that very often. And then we use the Sunrise power again, even though we don't have it. And that way, the sapling grows, and we get a new power. Or, yeah, brush power. Which is Bloom, which we need to bloom these saplings so they can give their good energy to the world. And get rid of all the bad cursed zones that we don't like. So there's a fight trigger here, but we're gonna skip it. That might be a little bit sketchy. Cool. So we just basically jumped over the fight trigger with a KT. That is basically what I'm gonna call the infinite jump glitch. I'm gonna call it KTs because it's easier to say that than have to say infinite jump glitch all the time. And then we're gonna run back because now we have the blue map. So here's another fight trigger, and we're just gonna literally walk around it again. The triggers in this game are pretty small here and there, which makes for a really nice sequence breaking. So now that we have the bloom power, we can restore Shinshu Field back to its prowess by blooming this guardian sapling over here. Like that. And then we're just kind of done with this place, really. The game wants you to do a lot of things here, and like explore, and get a new brush power, and go back to Kamiki, and get another brush power, and do a lot of stuff, but you know, I'm kind of done with this place. Like, it's nice and all, but I want to see more of the world, so we're just gonna sequence break a little. There we go. And we're just gonna go to the next area. Like that. And this is a Gata forest, and it's also cursed. It's kinda lame. Maybe we should fix that. Oh. Double bonk. Because one bonk isn't enough. So we're not supposed to enter from here, so we just enter straight into the cursed zone, which kind of sucks. But luckily we can jump out really quickly. We also don't have a power, so we can't go to the tree quite easily, so we have to KT to it. Okay. Wow. This is really bad. And what is probably the first out of bounds you'll be seeing this run? You will be seeing a lot more though, so don't worry about it. Okay, so Agata Forest is really nice now, but there's a fight trigger here, so we're gonna try and skip that. Like that, and there we go. We don't have to fight the guy over there. So now we're gonna jump up here. There's only one real reason for it, and that is to set up a fast travel point for later. That thing over there, that little puddle. It's called a mermaid fountain, and we'll be getting mermaid coins so we can fast travel in between them really quickly. But yeah, we're kind of done with the Agata Forest for now. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but once again, I want to see more of the world, so we're just gonna skip here, and we're gonna do a liquid KT. That's really hot. Don't trust that. There we go. So liquid KT works differently from a normal KT. The way you do liquid KT is you air dash as close as you can on top of the water, and then you switch your karmic transformer to a different one, and then you can just jump. For some reason that works. I wasn't really sure about the dash height at first, so I readjusted it a little bit and let myself drop just a little bit at the end of the dash, and it can still work off of that. So Taka Pass is, again, not very nice right now. And again, we're lacking a certain brush power that'll allow us to go to this area quickly, so we just have to jump up here and go into the area where we need to go. And we're gonna walk a little. So the first part of the game, of the run, is basically just set up we set up a few fast travel points. We just go as quickly as we can to one place to get a very useful ability, which will cut so much time off. So here we have Waka, and that is Waka. Waka is a pretty important character in the story, but there isn't that much story here, so just remember that there's a weird guy with weird prophecies who is apparently a lot faster than us, but we'll see that soon enough. So now we go all the way back where we just came from. You're supposed to like go here after you, like from down there, rather than just go back and forth. But again, we're sequence breaking a lot. So there's the sapling on the left, and we're gonna bloom that. There we go. So now Taka Pass is really nice and stuff. And we're gonna set up the next fast travel point. So again, there's a lot of things we can do here. We can like play a Degen game with, we can play a game of tag with some moles. We can try and help the little girl out, but we don't need that little girl, really. Oh, we also have a bark button, by the way, which is really cool. So this is a Demon Gate. Walk through it, we just go into a battle. And we're fighting it. The bloom to be able to open him, to be able to pull. Use a slip there. Like frames. And some fancy stuff. So we're gonna go into get in here. Cool glitch. No. Loading zone, and we're at the back of the game of this area, and we're just gonna jump down. So a feature about most of the areas in this game is that indoor areas are at the bottom of the outdoor areas. So we just fell into the indoor section of should if you can fix that. So here we have a digging game. gonna go as fast as we can. Get you to the bottom so you can reach as we can. I hope that should fix the frame. So by doing that, damn it, we gain a new brush power. I'm still dropping low. It's like really fucking low now through normal, so just because it's still close to enter. Luckily this entire outside area is interlinked. I think my computer doesn't like the server I'm streaming to. I have no idea why I'm getting so many frame drops. I never have. I've never had any troubles, normally. So I hope this will hold. If it doesn't, then I guess I'll lower my bitrate even further. So, we're kinda done with Taka Pass for now, so we're gonna go to City Checkpoint. Now the bridge is raised and we can't actually... So... we'll have to get over in a different way. So there's a really cool glitch that you can do while you're swimming. When you swim into a corner, the game gives you an auto jump like this. That way we can skip using a certain brush power. Damn it, messed that up. And now we're gonna just jump our way to the other side. I didn't trust that. Like that. Is the audio really that desynced? Wow. Okay, so this is Ryushima Coast, and once again, it's completely cursed and everything, which is not very nice, so we're gonna fix that. Sadly there's a fight over there, and I'd like to avoid it, so we're just gonna jump into this cursed zone for a bit. Just run around the edge here, and jump out. So we just skip another fight, which is nice. Again, we don't have the ability to be able to get up here quickly, so we'll just have to KT our way in, which is honestly still faster anyways. So there's some water down there, and we skip having to fill the other water basin by going in here, by just going through angles. And we do that to make this beautiful little sapling grow. Into a big tree, and then we're gonna move. And my name is not Poyo, please. So now that we're done with that, I'll tell you the only reason why we came here in a bit. But first we're gonna do something really cool. We're gonna clip through the stairs, like that. I don't know how this works, but for some reason it works. We can just clip through and we go out of bounds. And once again, indoor areas are at the bottom of outdoor areas, so we can just fall into this dojo over here. And we pay this guy some money to get ourselves a nice ability. Which is the double jump. It'll basically cut down the amount of KTs we have to do in half, which is nice because we are going to be doing a lot of KTs very soon. It's probably the worst part of this run. Like, more like the most boring part of it. Oh god, terrified. You just sure, I guess? I guess that would be the best idea here. Pause for a moment. So I feel like a lot of people haven't seen anything that I've been doing for a moment. Okay. Okay. I can bark a bit. This probably... Yeah, I'm ready. Okay. So, I guess we're back now. You probably missed a bunch of stuff. I'm very sorry for that. Oh well. It's not that special, we're just traveling a lot and we skipped a giant cutscene. But that's fine. Luckily, we're just in time for one of the best part of this run, and that is Orca. Hello, Orca. Orca is really nice. And now we're gonna leave him alone. So a little bit ago, I bought some mermaid coins, which I'm gonna be using to... what's it called? Fast travel. There we go. So we just throw one into this nice little puddle. And we'll fast travel right over here. So we're back at Taka Pass, and we're gonna go into a nice little village, which is sadly cursed. And we're gonna, like, maybe fix it? I don't know. I don't know if we can fix it, but there's something I need over there. At least, so we're gonna travel over there. So as you can see by the loading zone, some bad stuff is going on right there. So in here I actually can't use my brush powers right now, but it's not very important really, because I can still walk really fast. That's the important part. And I can double jump, which is always nice. Oh yeah, I gained double jump by the way. Look at that. Whee! Ah, damn it. So I tried a half-second time saver right there, and I lost like 10 in the process. That's kind of bad. Oh well. I haven't filled that in a while though. It's kind of annoying. Like that. That's what I wanted to do. Except without losing speed. So, a lot of people in chat are already saying it, but it's Skillstorm time. So there is this it's really annoying. It's probably the worst part about this run. But I'm gonna go into the next dungeon, and everything about that dungeon is on the same map. Sadly though, the bottom part of the dungeon is really far at the bottom from the top of the dungeon. What we're gonna do, however, is we're gonna jump all the way up there, because we have this cool infinite jump glitch. And by doing so, we skip at least 10 minutes of stuff. So just sit back, get yourself some music, maybe a cup of coffee, because I'm gonna be doing at least 100 KTs. So 100 times these infinite jumps. So this is gonna take a while, especially if I feel them. So first we're inside this box, so we're trying to break free from the box, like so. There we have the final bit of the box. This black part. We're just gonna go straight past it. And we're gonna go towards, slightly to the left of that white thing you see under the mountain. That white thing is part of the dungeon. I think it's a bit of water. So we're gonna try and jump our way towards it. Now what this skips is basically a giant fetch quest, where we have to track back through Taka Pass, go into Sasa Sanctuary, fight a dog. Then we go to Agata Forest, and then we fish up a dog, and we gotta fight him too. And then we gotta go all the way back to Kamiki, and you have to have done some preparation work for that one. And we gotta fight another dog. And then we go all the way back here, back to Kusa Village. And we have to clear out all of the dogs over there as well, we have to feed them. Luckily we can skip all of that with this. Well, luckily. Depends on what you define as luckily. So I guess I could go into KT tech a little bit. So what you might notice that every time I unpause after a KT switch, I buffer 1 frame. This is to check if I actually KT'd. And the way you can see that is basically Ami will have a really different position from the last time we paused. So like that is a failed KT, and that is a successful KT. I couldn't see there, so I trusted it. Shouldn't have. Should never trust KTs you can't see in Skillstorm. Unless you're really good at them. Which I'm currently not that. So the way you're trying to do this is by getting into a certain rhythm. To to do KT. So now you see this blue thing at the back. I'm trying to aim for that, but we're lacking a bit of height. So we're gonna go straight up instead of letting the dash come through. Damn it. I'm gonna do that for a bit. So if you want a full experience, by the way, I suggest you turn on I Believe I Can Fly from R. Kelly. And when that song finishes, I usually turn on Jump. Doesn't matter from which one, really. Crisscross will do fine, honestly. Or, I think it's from Van Halen, the one I usually put on. So here I'm kind of like, I've reached a certain altitude I like. So I'm kind of switching between going for the dash and not going for the dash. To make sure I'm not going too far up. And I'm still going a bit forwards a bit more. I'm constantly holding forward during all of these jumps, by the way. To make sure I gain a certain amount of height. Oh, there you saw a polygon disappearing. So that means we can go just straight now. So there you see a little bit of tower. That is the bit of dungeon that we're trying to get to. And very soon when that current like giant front-facing polygon disappears, we will be able to see the platform we're trying to get to. It's a really small platform from down here. It's actually pretty hard to see from here. There we go. See those, like... I'm basically just straight under it right now. That's the platform we're trying to aim. I'm actually kind of low, so... I want to get a little bit of height here. So this is probably the most boring part of the run for a viewer. It's a very, it's also a very boring part for a runner, really. Doing 100 KTs is really tedious, especially if they're not working out. Then it becomes slightly frustrating even. And it does take quite a toll on you to do this. Soon the music will change, the background, which means that we're really close. There we go. And you also see the giant windmill. We're nearly there. Just a couple of KTs more, and then we're done. Couldn't see that one, so I'll go for an extra frame. There we go. Whew. So yeah, that is Gale Storm. So we jumped all the way up there. Oh, damn it. And then we're gonna do it this... Damn it. Sometimes these things are kind of annoying to deal with. And we did that just to get this brush power, which you've seen in action already. Yeah, the start button in this game is quite used. Some people have already seen how my start button looks like. It's really worn out. It's all thanks to speedrunning this game. There we go. And now that we jumped all the way up, we're just gonna jump over an invisible wall and fall all the way down. Well, not all the way. We're currently inside a dungeon, but we don't have to fall that far. We don't have to do a lot of KTs to get down. So, a lot of effort, and then you just jump out. So, there is actually a boss at the end of this dungeon, but we can't be bothered with killing him, really. Like, the thing we get from him is just not very important to us, because it's a story piece. And like I said, we don't really care much for the story in this run, we just go straight through everything. So yeah, we're basically gonna leave Kuza village like this, completely curse all of its people, just all sad and stuff like that. Especially this lovely lady over here. I mean, look at her. Something's wrong with her. Nothing we can do, really. They can fix it themselves. No reason for us to interfere, really. And we're just gonna leave now. And we're gonna go back to another area that we've basically paused. So, how did I come to speedrun this game, I guess? I guess I can tell you that. Well, about 3/4 years ago, there was this guy named Golden who thought of the 12-hour speedrun challenge. And I was like, hey, let's try and do Okami during the 12-hour speedrun challenge. Probably the worst decision of my life. But it was a lot of fun, and I've been running this game ever since. I even held a world record in a category for a small while, until Darkness took it. Ah well. So now we're back in Agata Forest, and we're gonna go into another dungeon. Now the way you're supposed to go into the dungeon is to, like, on the left there you see this kid who is crying and not really happy because his dog is, like, trapped in a dungeon and the key has been swallowed by a fish, so we need to fish that out. But we have this really cool glitch that we can use. And we're just gonna jump over the gate straight into the loading zone. And then about this dungeon, we're gonna skip most of it. So this is honestly a pretty big dungeon. There's a lot of stuff you need to do to get to the end. But we just kind of skip that and go straight into a certain area that will make the water from purple to blue. Because purple's bad in this case. Better do Kinnin clip. Sorry, we don't do Kinnin clip anymore. So we have these 3 demon gates. We gotta try and fix that. speed a little. Something I do, you see me do in almost every fight. You see me shard whip speed, so I can run to the next part of the game quickly. And that is it. So coming up next is a cutscene skip, which is really hard to get because you can only do it for like 1 or 2 frames. So you have to mash the start button and hope. And I didn't get it. You saw like really short in the top right of the corner, you saw the start button appear, but I didn't get it. So we can simply skip it. Some annoying, but we'll deal with it. So those spots are the cause of the water. So we're just gonna destroy them like that. I was missing. Yeah, there we go. So now the water again. Walk or but you can just, for some reason, close enough to them. The way the game wants is to jump down, but they're going. We simply track back a little and we jump down all the way over here and go into the center. Now why do we want to go into the center? Well, question. That'll be answered very soon. I'm still dropping frames. It was really stable for a while, but a couple more. So here we get our next brush power, which is fine. With that we can do this. So I managed to keep my speed for as long as I can, so we can go really nice and fast. Through here, unless I get into the water like a scrub. And here we're gonna jump over a cutscene trigger. That would lose me another 20 seconds. I was dropping 200 frames, that's about it. But it's really weird that I'm dropping frames. It's like only to this server that I've ever dropped frames this randomly. So now that we got this brush power, the next brush power is going to take a lot more setting up to do. First things first, we need to make it night. Now we could just go to the place where we're supposed to go, or just wait there for a minute or 10, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know at by heart. But there's something really useful. A useful side quest here in Shinshu Field that we can use. So just jump down here. And we're gonna go into Mika's shrine or hut. And Mika has some troubles. He's been troubled by some bad monsters. So he gives us a list of monsters we need to catch. And those monsters only appear at night. So the game turns it into night. And here we have one of those monsters. It's called Akuzo. He's called Akuzo. And I sniped him. Nice. Sometimes he's really the green imps are blocking him. And that won't allow me to quickly dispatch him, so I would have to use a slip. So here's the monster notebook where we cross Akuzo off the list. Now we're not gonna fix Mika's problem for him. We only gave him a head start really. He can do the rest. He's a strong guy. He can take on those imps. So we're just gonna go back to a certain area. To do that, however, we need to set up. Let's fast travel point. Spawns. So those imp spawns are sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. This one, however, tends to be pretty close to use. And by defeating that boss fight, that fight, we get a new fast travel point, which we're gonna be using. Travel back to the coast where we finally gonna use Orca. We summoned him a while back. Now we're gonna try and jump on him, which and we swim with him. So the thing about KTs is that we cannot actually jump above water for some reason. Well, a very obvious reason. Luckily, however, the game counts Orca as ground, so we can just jump up here from Orca with a KT. Now this skips probably half an hour, probably more, of the game where you have to do a lot of side questing. And the reason why we wanted it to be night, so we can draw a star here, so that this guy could make a wish and make that beautiful galaxy appear, the Whirlpool Galaxy. Now sadly, however, the Whirlpool Galaxy has to spin, so we just summon some wind on Earth and the stars will spin for us. Sound logic, right? And now it's spinning fast enough. I don't know how the game makers made this up. So we're gonna jump down here. Ooh! Oh! Okay. That wasn't TAS Orca, but it was really damn close. So, by summoning the Whirlpool Galaxy and making it spin, we create this giant whirlpool over here. And we're gonna go down it. To go into the Dragon Palace, because there's this water dragon that's been terrorizing the lands, and we need to stop him. Now, the people here, however, don't really like the water dragon, so they'll try and stop us from getting in. I mean, look at them, they're all afraid. Luckily, we have this infinite jump glitch. We're gonna go out of bounds a bit. And we're gonna jump inside the dragon's mouth, if I'm actually good enough for that. Well, we just jump like that, sure. And we're gonna go inside the dragon. Which is honestly a really peaceful place. And for some reason, it has trees and grass. And demons. For some reason. It's really weird. We're just gonna jump down here to get this key. Gonna try and save my speed. Do another liquid KT for speed. Unless I'm bad, which I am, and I probably will speed as well. So for swag purposes, I'm gonna drop the key. It's all swag, because very soon now, we'll have the key again. Don't know how it works, but it works. Swag. So, the thing that the game wants you to do is go all the way to the back and release some stomach acid, so we can release that ball over there. Luckily, however, stomach acid is programmed the same way as water. So we can just use some water and use that instead. Saves us the hassle of going all the way over there. It's kind of annoying. We run in instantly so we can just get all the cutscenes in one go. And then we have this fight against the fox swans. Or foxfires. I'm not sure what it's called. However, all that fighting and like releasing that weird orb thing from his stomach doesn't really make him all that happy. So now we're gonna get attacked by acid. Now where the acid drops is completely random. And you can dodge it because you can look at it. However, I'm gonna do some jumps here, like this. And I cannot see where the acid is going to drop. Luckily I got lucky and didn't get hit while in midair. That can happen, and then you fall down into the water. And the game can really mess you up if it does that. But we got somewhat lucky. My movement was somewhat though. So yay! We killed the great dragon, the water dragon. Now he's no longer gonna terrorize the lands. I do think we need to apologize to these people though. And give this weird orb thing back to them. I think it's something important to them, so I'll just wave it in their face, see if they like it. Yeah, I luckily get lucky. That's how I do it. Well, the people didn't really like it, so we're just gonna run out. However, there's this thing that's been bothering me. Like there's there that we passed a while back. We should check it out. Orca, by the way. You see this on the left, like X. The way you do is press it repeatedly. It's not the harder you mash, the faster you get. And we're gonna. So this is the next brush power that we need. And I dropped 200 frames again. Always nice. Seems to be like a constant interval right now. By the way, cool thing you can do with KTs. Okay. Small interlude. Aw, dang! It's a cool thing. Though. So here we go. Kuko Temple. Okay, I hope it stopped dropping frames now. Yeah, I'll try and show it again later for if people haven't seen it. So this lovely is this sign that we can go in here. I wonder, hey, I think we're inside city now. Pretty cool. Thank you, ghost lady, who was dead right there. Again, I guess. And I'm not sure if that's gonna work. It's only 1.5 lava. We don't like it. This skips another half hour of the game, where we do a giant bit of the game. And we grow tiny. Fight some peeps. So here, Videl know what she's doing here. That people right there. That's probably the person who killed him. So we're just gonna kill him or something. Sin is like, hey, over here. Sure, let's check that out. Maybe there's a brush power there. Okay, maybe a small disclaimer. I'm currently just making up a story about the game, because I could tell you everything about the story points that I'm skipping and stuff like that, but that would take longer than the actual run, so we're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make up a story. It's more fun that way. So maybe people think we killed her, so I'm just gonna escape from this place before they kill us in revenge. Probably won't believe a dog. There was some weird fox lady who killed their queen. So here for Waka again. Hello, Waka. Goodbye, Waka. So I jump off the bridge here to skip a cutscene, and that saves a little bit of time. So this place is kind of a dump, really. Some weird mist hanging around that's slowly killing people. But you know what? I think they can fix it themselves. No need for us to interfere or anything. They've got top man on this. Top man, I tell you. So I tried doing the telekinetic grab with KTs, so I'm gonna try do it again without pesky frames dropping. Whee! Okay, so that's a cool glitch you can do with the KTs. Let's quickly go over to the place that Issa was talking about, because apparently it's gonna disappear when it turns night. So again, we're skipping a lot. By being able to get up Fortress Cave really quickly. So we just jump up here. I hope everyone was able to see the telekinetic grab now. So here we have the nice place that Issa was talking about. Looks kind of ominous though. Maybe there is brush power over there. Oh hey! Someone made a nice bridge for us to get there. That's pretty cool. So this is actually a really momentous part of the game, as you might have noticed by the music. A lot of people are dying left and right, and it's kind of sad. So this is Oni Island. Oni Island is probably my most hated dungeon. It's really annoying and obnoxious. Luckily, however, we skip almost everything by going here out of bounds, and we're gonna run on these slopes. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to jump as quickly as I can to avoid the golden flowers. So only like the green bit comes up. We call it green hopping. This way I preserve the most amount of height I can have here, because I want to be a little bit high here. Oh, and I lost momentum. We're gonna fix that with a little dash. So I'm focusing a little bit here, so I'm trying to be a bit quiet. So here we have this giant statue over there. Kinda like it. Seems to be missing something though. Let's see if we can draw that in. Not yet. There we go. And by doing that, we get ourselves a new brush power, which is called Thunderstorm. Now you can have 3 guesses what that does. Oops. We can control thunder now, or lightning rather. It's pretty cool. Or electricity, whatever. So next we're gonna go back inside of Oni Island, and again, like, this entire dungeon is on one giant map, at least the interior. Well, not everything though. There's one section that is not on the same map, and we need to get there. So we're just gonna jump into a loading zone right there. And that's this 2D section, which is really cool, honestly. It's pretty cool that they added a 2D section in a 3D game. It's supposed to go all the way around here, but we can just skip that. We're also supposed to have a certain brush power to be able to get up here. But we have this really cool infinite jump, which I'll just use to quickly get up here and grab this thunder key. And the reason why we need this thunder key is to power up some wheels coming up, to get rid of a gate right here. So now a certain global timers, well, a cycle timer starts. And I have a lot of time here. I can just really calmly go through here, make mistakes like that, because I have to wait here anyways. So we're gonna try and go through these wheels as quickly as we can. Ah, too fast, damn it. So you can one cycle through there, but I kind of missed it in the end. I was really close though. And then we're gonna go over here. So there's a lot of things you have to do in this area, but we're just gonna jump right around it. Nope. Like that. Jump on this section. We're actually backtracking a little bit, because for us to be able to get through there, we need to race this guy. It's called Toby. He's a really cool guy. In the story he dies, sadly. Oh, spoilers, sorry. But we're really nice to him because we actually let him live. And Toby is the best character in this game, by the way. So I'm really happy that we let him live. Because we basically skip the rest of the dungeon now, and we go to the final, the boss of this dungeon. So the only reason why we're going to the boss of this dungeon is because we actually cannot escape from this dungeon without defeating the boss. It's one of 2 dungeons where we have to do that, and it's the only dungeon in any percent where we have to do that. It is actually possible to escape this dungeon, but as far as I know, it's either really hard or really slow. So here we have Ninetales. We hit her first, make her go split. I want to kill this fat version of herself first, because it takes a little bit more damage than one slip. And we don't want to have 3 cycles of this boss, we just want to have 2. Same goes for this one here. We have to kill the old one first, and then use the slip. And then go straight to her, changes into a sick old bull with a missing eye. Damn, I got the cutscene. That's kind of bad. Yeah, I thought so. Game also asks you to save the game, but that's slow, so we're just gonna skip that. So now we have all the brush powers we need to finish the game. So we're just gonna go to the end of the game. To do that, we need to... Nice. We need to go back to Shinshu Field, because something amazing has happened. A fun thing about any percent, by the way, is the fact that we can actually get to the end of the game in about half an hour, but we won't be able to beat the game after that, because we need to have these brush powers, otherwise we cannot finish the game, actually. This direction. So, a bit of thunder has appeared there, so we're gonna jump up there and see what's going on. And like this, we have opened the door to the last area of the game. Now in the last area of the game, we are basically just traveling through it and skipping almost everything about that area. So if you don't want spoilers for the ending part, don't worry. Only when we get to the final part will you get a little bit spoiled. And even then, you don't even know why we're here, except to go fast. So this is Kamui. It's kind of cold here. There's this perpetual blizzard going on, which is quite unusual. But as per usual, I think the people that live here can fix it. But there's still this cursed zone, which kind of bothers me. So we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna go out of bounds for it. Because why stay in bounds when we can go out of bounds, right? Oh, come on. So behind that giant rock is a tree that we would like to bloom. The way you're supposed to do it is to guide thunder to someone's arrow, and that way it destroys it. Luckily, however, the tree already exists right here, so we can just bloom it from under there. Yeah, the arc. Okay, coming up next is a soft lock. There is a mandatory fight right there to the left of us. Where we do not have the brush power to be able to beat it. So we're gonna jump over it. And if I suck, I will drop into it. So I did it in 4 KTs. If you're really ballsy, you can do it in 2, but that is YOLO mode, and since it's a marathon, I thought I'd just go safe and jump over it by quite a margin. Don't want a soft lock. Well, I do have a save file close by, but still. So now we're gonna go into the town of this place, called Webkier. Sadly, the news of what we've done in that giant city back there has reached here as well, so everyone has fled us. Everyone's in their houses scared of us. Well, that's fine really, just go to the end anyways. So we're supposed to do like a giant amount of stuff to be able to get to the end of the game. Luckily we can just jump over this gate and go to the final bit. Might actually go overestimate looking at it. I'll blame the issues. OP. So, the final part of the game, there's this arc that we need to get onto. One, two, three, four. Sorry, I need to count for a moment. I need to make sure my KDs are good. 5. Come on. 6. One more. There we go. So, the way you're supposed to get there is that rainbow road thing that you're supposed to run up. However, the loading zone to the inside of this arc already exists when you enter this place. So all you really have to do is jump into it. And that way we get inside this arc. So this arc is the final area of the game. It's basically a giant boss rush finished off by the final boss of the game. However, we've only really seen one boss this run. You're supposed to have already fought all of these bosses and have the proper abilities for them. So this boss we actually need a certain brush power for that we never got. So we just have to wait for him to do a certain attack. Usually a third cycle for me. It's quite... Sometimes he can do it in 2 cycles. So we got a certain sword, and then we get hit apparently, and we hit it. So yeah, we have this. The string of beads makes us one-hit a lot of things. And get a lot of money as well. Money! There we go. And now we're gonna run back. So yeah, this is basically a boss rush. It's not... The boss threats are pretty interesting here and there. But the movement in between quite easy. We go from the right one to the left one, by the way, because it's 0.6 seconds faster. I used to not do it because I thought it was a funny meme, but I do like 0.6 seconds. It's nice and fast. So this is Orochi. Orochi has some really cool strats that we're gonna use. So we're gonna make Earth head right here. We're gonna make it hit the ground. For some reason that enables all of the other heads to just do whatever they want. And by doing that, we get all 3 heads at the same time. I was a bit slow there. That was my own fault. To improvise a little bit. So the way you fight this boss is by getting the heads drunk. So you can actually hurt him. I'm gonna use 2 slips here. And now we have to, one by one, hit all of the heads and kill them. So the way you do that is just wait, and on the right timing, you hit them. So the weapon I'm using is the glaive. It has a charge up. So it deals a lot of damage, especially with the string of beads. And you might also notice these giant fireballs falling down. Those are somewhat random. they can be a real pain in the ass, as you've seen already. They can really lose you a bunch of time if you get unlucky. Well, that was a decent Orochi fight. Oh, excuse me. So that's Orochi. So as you might notice, like the path becomes blue after you've defeated all the bosses. Not defeated the boss. Which is a nice touch, really. Next we have this giant spider. So once again, these are all bosses we're supposed to have fought already. They're like bosses of dungeons and stuff like that, but we skipped most of the dungeons, so it's pretty funny, really. The bosses also have, I think, slightly bit more health here, but I'm not sure. So this boss, you use Vine to launch yourself over there, and then she has these hooks at the bottom of her body, and we just Vine them all, open her butt. I said bud, not butt. And then we can use 2 steps to kill. And then we go on to the next boss. I actually remember the first time I encountered this spider boss. I didn't know that you could hook, you could already use Vine on the hooks from the start. So the first time I beat this boss, it took me half an hour, because I kept waiting for a specific move where she would like throw an egg up, and if you slashed it, it would like make her fall down and stuff like that, and make her hooks easy to hit. But later on I found out that that was a way easier way of killing that boss. So I felt kind of, yeah, embarrassed back in the day. Kind of laugh about it right now. It's really stupid. So this boss is Crimson Helm. It's the boss at the end of the Guild Shrine where we got Gillstorm. So we just use a slip, use Gillstorm, and then we kill him. Like that. He's a weird cow thing. This looks pretty cool, really. So you might notice that I'm almost all of the time I'm really close to the portal. I've memorized where all the portals are, like just about. Like I know the vicinity of the. I know I know how to get in the vicinity of those portals, so we can go back into this area really fast. Now this boss should look familiar already. We beat her a while back. That was horrible. Too many swag buffers. And we're gonna beat her again. So basically same strats. We hit her, lightning. She splits up. That one. And use a slip. I tend to wait just a little bit to make sure I can hit her. She has some invincibility frames or something right after forming back together. So here we use a slip and then shoot her to make it consistent, because if you're really close to her and you time your beats incorrectly, she'll just jump over you, and that's kind of annoying to deal with. And that is the boss rush done. Now we're gonna go to the final boss of the game. Final boss. Sadly, however, it is probably the saddest part of the run, in my opinion. And I'll explain why, and you'll probably see why as well. So there's a portal in the middle. Everything is blue now. It's really pretty. Music is kind of ominous though. Hello Marco. Goodbye Marco. Excuse me. So this is the final boss of the game. He's called Yami, and he's probably one of the best designed bosses I've ever run across. Sadly, we're gonna cheese him with slips and overpoweredness, and it basically becomes an auto-scroller boss. And that is the reason this is probably the saddest moment for me when I'm doing a run. You have this really amazingly well-designed boss, and we just cheese him to hell and make him an auto-scroller. So the way this boss fight starts is you lose all your abilities, and now we're one by one gaining them back. So yeah, if you ever play this game casually, please, whatever you do, do not use slips during this fight. I mean, look at this. He has no more health, and we still have to play through. Nice cheese cube. Or rectangle. So for instance, we're gonna go to this phase now, which is the casino phase. And we're gonna rig it by using 5 slips. So, casino is rigged now. There we go. Perfect. Just what I needed. Another brush power. So the boss has 5 phases, by the way. I'll tell you when to get ready on time. Ah, well, perfect. We got another brush power. It's really good. I'm amazing at rigging the lottery, man. Let's see if we can do it a third time. Ah, look at that. I'm amazing. I rigged this to perfection. That's the way I do a lottery. Just rig it. But I think my luck has run out on this phase, so let's just go to the next one. And we do that by slip. Now for this phase, we're only going to use slips. I can literally just stand still and peel on it. Haha! Take that. So yeah, the way you do this boss is you have to use all the brush powers you just regained to do really awesome stuff to try and kill him. Sadly though, we just use slips, and that'll slowly kill him. Okay, and we're done with this phase, so we're gonna go to the final phase and go into this loading screen, which is always too long for me. I'm always afraid that it has crashed during that section. It's just the longest loading screen. So get ready on time. And time. Now the real time... Cool. That's actually pretty decent with the pause. Real time doesn't actually matter for the leaderboards, but the in-game time is going to be a lot longer because we paused the in-game time on their estimate. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, this in-game time is really lag a bit. For me, it's usually about...
With that dropping frames, that was a server, not you. But
yeah, I thought so.
Watchable for the most part. The whole thing wasn't bad.
No, exactly.
But yeah, it was a good run.
Yeah. So.
Alright, so thanks for that. Go follow Kinnin, guys.
Yes.
This is a good stream. Good stream.
Next,
we got some Sky. Some Sky.